Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick, and if you're new here, I'm into all things tech, finance, and reading. And today I'm going to figure out if I regret buying the iPad Air 4. So you may have seen the unboxing video that I did of this iPad a couple of months ago. If you haven't seen it and you're interested, have a look up here. But I've had it for a while now and I've been using it on a very regular basis. So I've reached some conclusions about whether I think it was a good buy. So I'm going to start out by giving you a bit of context in terms of the reason why I wanted to buy an iPad. And then we're going to go into my conclusions about whether or not it was a good buy for me. So if you want to just jump straight to the conclusion part, feel free to do so with the timestamps. But hopefully me explaining my reasoning about why I wanted an iPad will help to give you some context for my conclusions. Now I already have a MacBook Pro and an iPhone 11, so I'm already pretty geared up with Apple products. But the reason why I wanted to buy an iPad was because I realized that I was tending to get a lot of work done on my laptop and pretty much nothing done on my phone. I use my laptop for work because it's so much easier to look at spreadsheets, reply to emails with a keyboard, edit videos, and multitask than on my iPhone. But on my phone, I have super easy access to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and so I just end up spending all my time when I'm on my phone on those apps. So I wanted something that was kind of in between those two extremes, because I noticed at times when I wanted to be productive, or if I had the inclination to be productive, busting out my laptop was just too much effort. And I know that's very much a first world problem, and I'm sure I probably just need to get my act together and stop being lazy. But I did notice when I had the inclination to be productive, like first thing in the morning or after a long day at work, the thought of having to take my laptop out of the bag, plug it into the wall, connect the cable, open it up, boot it up, was enough of a bother for me in that moment to stop me from being productive. But I knew that the iPad had great battery life, so I wouldn't need to worry about charging it so much. I knew that it was super portable, so I could just leave it in a really convenient spot. And I knew that it started up instantaneously just like my phone. So if I had the inclination to be productive, I could quickly whip out my iPad and start working. So my hope was that it would become this middle device that was big and powerful enough to be super productive on, like my laptop, but small enough to be super convenient and quick to pick up and use just like my phone. So that's what I personally wanted the iPad for, and that's the reason why I bought it in the first place. So with that said, I'm going to break the rest of the video down into 4 sections. The first will be my overall impressions of the iPad, considering this is the first iPad that I've actually ever owned and used on a regular basis. The second part will be my absolute favorite parts about the iPad Air. The third part will be the things I didn't like about the iPad so much. And then finally, I'll share my conclusions about whether this is something that I'm really happy I bought or whether it's something I really regret. So first up, what were my overall impressions? To be honest, I think my overall impressions were that the iPad is awesome, but it didn't blow me away. At the end of the day, it really is kind of just a big iPhone that you can write on with an Apple Pencil and attach a keyboard to. There's nothing really too groundbreaking about the iPad for me. I mean, if you're an existing Apple user and you're already in the Apple ecosystem, then you'll be right at home with the iPad. It just feels like another Apple device. It feels like another big iPhone. But I mean, obviously one of the big advantages of the iPad over a phone is the screen size. In fact, I've started exclusively writing my YouTube scripts on my iPad because it's just so convenient to be able to whip it out wherever I am and just start typing away. And so in that sense, it works really well for what I wanted it for, which was to be a middle device between my phone and my laptop. I also really loved the design of it, the look of it. It's basically identical to the current iPad Airs, and I think it looks really nice. I love the rounded corners, and I'm always a fan of the space gray color. Battery life is also great as expected. It'll easily last me a whole day or more. I'm using it on and off, and it never feels like a hassle to have to go and charge it. And the really handy thing is that it's got USB-C, so I can just use my MacBook Pro charger to charge the iPad, which means I don't have to carry 2 chargers around with me everywhere. The integration with the Apple Pencil and the keyboard is also really great. Super handy just being able to whip out the keyboard whenever you need. It's super easy to use. I've got the Smart Folio keyboard, and the Apple Pencil is really fun to use, and it's great for taking handwritten notes or doing art. Now there are a few things that I absolutely love about the iPad Air 4, and the first is the ability to be able to plug an external storage device into your iPad. To me, this is one of the big things that makes it feel more like a productive laptop device rather than just a phone, because I can actually copy across real productive files like video footage or Photoshop files or raw images straight off a hard hard drive or a thumb drive onto my iPad and then do something actually productive with them. Plus I've got the 256 gigabyte iPad model, which is actually the same amount of storage as my MacBook. So again, it definitely feels like the storage capacity of a laptop. I also really do love the Apple Pencil. I know that's kind of a separate product, but the fact that it works with the iPad Air is awesome. I've been using GoodNotes a little bit for some light journaling, and I've been doing a little bit of art stuff in Procreate, and it's just super fun and relaxing. I really enjoy it. And finally, I think my very favorite thing about the iPad is just the convenience. I've got the 11.9-inch model, and it's just so portable. You can just grab it and go. I take it down to the cafe to do some writing, or I just grab it on my bedside table, or take it with me into the bathroom and watch some YouTube while I'm brushing my teeth. It's just so much more convenient than my laptop, and that's definitely one of the main reasons why I bought it. Now, there have been a few things that have really bugged me about the iPad Air, and the first thing is there's no calculator. I'm like, why is there no calculator? It'd be so handy to be able to pop out a calculator just over the existing app that you're using. Like if you're using a spreadsheet and you want to do a calculation, just pop out the calculator. But no, for some reason, Apple hasn't included the calculator into the iPad OS. And so if you want a calculator, you have to download another one from the App Store, which is like, what the heck? So I'm always finding myself reaching for my iPhone to have to get the calculator if I want to do a calculation. It's just annoying. Second, the multitasking I think was a little bit of a letdown for me. It's good and it's better than the iPhone in the sense that you can do split screen. But apart from that, multitasking on an actual Mac or a laptop is just so much easier and more intuitive, to be honest. Sure, if you've got the keyboard, you can Command Tab between windows, but that's about the extent of similarities between a Mac multitasking and the iPad multitasking, which is kind of annoying. I was hoping for something a bit better, and it kind of makes it feel a bit more like a phone than a laptop. Finally, just a small one, but a torch/flash would have been nice. I'm often stumbling around in the dark in my apartment, and so having a little torch on there would be very handy, but not a huge deal. So in conclusion, was the iPad Air 4 the best purchase I've ever made in my life, or was it a total waste of money? Well, I think if 10 is life-changing and 1 is waste of money, it would probably be about a 7, I think, for me. And bear in mind, that's just based on my expectations and the things I wanted it for. So maybe you wanted it for something completely different. It might be a 10 for you, but for me, it's probably around a 7. For the most part, it definitely met my expectations, which is really good. It does what I want it to. And at the end of the day, I am definitely more productive owning the iPad than not owning it, which for me makes it 100% worth it. I'm definitely finding that I am writing more YouTube scripts, I'm journaling more, I'm doing a bit more art stuff, and that definitely makes it worth it for me. But I think the thing I have been a little bit surprised about is just how much I've used it as a consumption device. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because it's just as convenient to use as my iPhone, but I have found that I do waste a bit of time watching Netflix or YouTube when I could be doing something else. And I do end up wasting more time on it than I would on my laptop. But I think that just goes back to the best feature of the iPad for me, which is just the convenience factor. Super convenient to carry around, whip out whenever you need. And so I found it to be really a great middleman device between my phone and my laptop, and I'm 100% happy that I made the purchase. It's not life-changing, but I 100% don't regret buying it. However, it's definitely not a need to have, I would say. If you've already got a good laptop, then you don't need the iPad. It won't change your life, but it's definitely one of those things that's nice to have. If you do have the extra money for it and you're kind of a bit lazy like me and you want to get more work done, then it's definitely a nice to have buy. And so that's the extent of my thoughts on the iPad after owning it for a few months. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Do you own the iPad Air 4? What do you think? Have you been using it for productive stuff? Do you waste time on it? Or maybe you're considering buying it at the moment. Does this make you want to buy it more? Or does it want to make you buy it less? Let me know in the comments. I'd be super keen to hear. Other than that, check out my iPad versus Kindle video if that's something you're into, and be sure to check out my tech playlist for other tech related content. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a brilliant day.